James and Shane here to recap Week 2 of the NFL. I'm trying to pull up the scores here. I guess the Wi-Fi is not really working, or the ESPN app sucks, whichever. But so let's go ahead and get started with what we were just talking about before the show. And I didn't want to lead off with this, but we were already talking about it. It's on our minds. Let's just go ahead and kick it off. Your Philadelphia Eagles fall to 0-2. It's not looking good. Jalen Reagor was just put on IR. How are you, we were just talking about it, but I want you to address the people, James. How are you feeling about it? Give us a state of James right now. State of James Union.
I'll tell you what, I was very, 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 very astronomically angry after the Redskins game. I didn't think they were going to win this game, and then the way that they did lose this game, which was very handily, kind of just put a calmness into me. Like we were just saying, I mean, once you kind of accept the fact that your team isn't going to be good and you know that for a fact, it's a little more refreshing, and then you can start focusing on, who they're going to draft, who they're going to release, who they're going to sign, who they're going to fire, all that stuff. So I'm not too upset, man. The thing that I'm upset about is, I mean, and you can speak to this. I mean, we were this was a pro Carson Wentz podcast, man.
Obviously, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up.
Oh, no, dude, it's been 2 games. I mean, I'm not giving up on him, but I don't. Dude, they've lost both games because of him. I mean, because of him. Period. Point blank. Straight up. I know the defense hasn't played well. I know people are injured, but literally 0-2 because of Carson Wentz. And the thing that scares me is he obviously has all the physical tools. I mean, that's what everybody's been saying about him since he got drafted. But he's lacking mentally, man, and that's something that you can't teach. That's why, Tom Brady ended up being the best the best quarterback of all time. That's all mentality and stuff. And when he's having the same problems now that he had his rookie year, and I can't stand that. I used to get it on Cam Newton for the same thing. I'm like, Cam Newton's not getting any better. He's really good. He has a high floor.
And look what's happened to him. New location. He's completely changed. I'm not saying Philly needs to do the same, or that they even need to get a new coach. I don't think that whatsoever. I think you're foolish to get rid of Wentz or Peterson. What I think needs to happen is they need to strip down the offensive coaching staff. Get them a new quarterbacks coach. Get them a new offensive coordinator. I don't know if they've done that in the last year or so, but
this will be the last thing we talk about with the Eagles, and then we'll move on because I know there's a bunch of games we got to recap. But there's, you look at football teams in trios: your quarterback, your GM, and your coach. Howie Roseman is went from being regarded as one of the best GMs in football. He is bottom 5 GM in football. I don't give a shit what you say. He should go GM the fucking Jaguars, dude. Looking at this, dude, I just saw a tweet that said 16 out of 8, or only 2 out of the last 18 draft picks the Eagles have made are going to play on Sunday. Dude, I was saying earlier, I could literally take a fucking dart and throw it at a fucking board and draft better than that, dude. Randomly.
Philly needs to get a run game. They need a run game.
Dude, Miles Sanders had 100 yards and 30 more on the ground. I mean, it's not that. It's they lack talent. That is the problem right now. They have a couple high-end players that they're not a 4-win team, but dude, you look at Dallas. Dallas drafts a good fucking player every year. How are we supposed to compete with Dallas when they got a bunch of young, cheap talent?
Hey, you're only a game out of it, man. You're a game out of it.
Dude, it's not that, though. One team's heading in one direction and one's heading in the other. The Eagles have had a downward arrow 3 years now. This is the 3rd year in a row, dude. And Doug's getting stale as far as he's getting bit. What people are trying to say, and I'm honestly starting to see it, is Wentz is a great quarterback. Peterson's a great coach, but they don't mesh that well. The way Peterson wants to play doesn't bode well with the way Wentz wants to play, and that's what it's looking like right now. And I'll see him this weekend, but dude, he doesn't even have a lot of weapons now. So it's not like he's gonna go and be like, oh well, I'm gonna throw 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. They probably not, dude. Because nobody's playing. So it's looking bad, dude. It's looking like a 5-11 team right now. Bad, very bad. But talk about your Packers who actually played.
I wasn't even trying to bring them up, but I think it's funny how when we started this podcast, how our teams have completely gone in opposite directions here. When we started, Green Bay was struggling to do anything right under Mike McCarthy. Philly was at the top, and then now it's kind of gone they've met here in the middle and are heading in opposite directions, or trending in the different directions. But so.
And you want to know why? This is the last thing I'll say. Green Bay has drafted fucking magnificently, and Philly has drafted abysmally.
I hope my friends are listening to that. I hope they are listening to that.
You know I love Jair Alexander. That's my boy.
I mean, they have drafted pretty well. I like. Despite what happened this offseason, I know it was pretty controversial. I like Brian Gutekunst as a GM. I mean, this draft in general, say what you want about it, we're getting some pretty good returns so far. A.J. Dillon has looked good in training camp, and he's shown flashes in a game. He needs to slim down a little bit and get faster. Josiah DeGuara, our third-round pick, looks good. Our fifth-round pick was starting before he got hurt in training camp, so...
Well, here's the thing, Shane. You're not going to hit on every.
I know.
I mean, nobody's going to hit everything, but when you're making draft picks and then they don't work out, that's when I have a problem. If you take somebody and I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, yeah, dude, that was a good pick, and they end up being a bust. I mean, how mad can you be about that? Like Sidney Jones, I think, would be a good example of that. When they drafted him, because in the second round he tore his Achilles and he was a top 10 draft pick, I was like, yeah, that was a good pick. Ended up being a bad pick because he ended up not being good. But like, dude, we drafted a dude named Davion Taylor in the third round this year, a linebacker. I never heard of him in the pre-draft process. Never heard his name one time. He's not going to touch the field all year. He's played 2 years of football his whole life. It's just like, you can't make that draft pick, dude. Why would you draft him in the third round? Why?
Yeah, that should definitely be a later round pick.
Fucking crazy, man. He gets these developmental, like, I don't know. I hate Howie Roseman, so let's talk about something else.
All right, we'll move on. Yeah, so I'll talk briefly about Green Bay. They look really good. Offense is humming so far. We'll know more about this team here real soon. This is when the gauntlet kind of starts. They get New Orleans, then Atlanta, then they get a bye, Tampa, Houston. And I think they get Minnesota when they're off a bye week, and then San Francisco, I think, on Thursday night. So we're entering the gauntlet now for Green Bay, but so far it's humming. We'll know more about this team here in the next month or so, really this week. And I like their matchup this week. I really do. I think Green Bay, very good chance of winning this game against New Orleans.
Well, I mean, Michael Thomas isn't going to be playing,
so let's just go ahead and get to New Orleans. That was kind of the biggest shock of the weekend. New Orleans goes to Vegas, Monday Night Football, loses to the new Las Vegas Raiders, I should say. Dude, I'll be honest. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button, but I think this team's in trouble. The offense is not moving the ball. Really not that. At least not in the passing game.
I think a lot of people already had a hunch on how they were moving the ball and everything anyway, but I think it's so solidified now that Drew Brees cannot throw the fucking ball downfield that even when Michael Thomas is back, they're going to have a pretty easy time defending it. They're done. They're not winning the Super Bowl. They have a Super Bowl roster, not winning the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Not happening. I actually think Tampa Bay might end up coming back and winning that.
Very well could happen. I mean, they're only a game, or no, they're tied. Well, technically, they're tied, but
because of the head-to-head. But
yeah,
I think Tampa Bay they're going to play.
I agree with you. I think that they are set to win right now. I see Drew Brees. I saw him play Monday, and everything was just kind of dink and dunk. There was a stretch. I think he threw 3 passes that weren't 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. I think I read that, or I saw a graphic that said the average pass attempt was just about 5 yards down the field. Like, and I know, and you can look at and say like, well, his yards per attempt, is pretty good. It's probably over 8 right now, but none of his passes are down the field. He's taking these dink and dunks, and they get a lot of yards. They get a lot of yak because of that. For those that know that stat.
The thing about it is, it's not even what he's doing, because that's always been Drew Brees' game, even though I think it's, he's going shorter now than ever. It's just that it looks so hard for him now. It's like, he's always been a crazy accurate quarterback, and it's like, dude, why does it look so hard for you to hit somebody 7 yards down the field right now? Like, it looks like it's painful for him to throw a football.
Yeah.
Right? Is what I took away from it.
And that was our biggest concern with him before the season, was I was worried when it got into January, could his arm take it? It couldn't take it last year. Couldn't take it the previous 2 postseasons. Yeah. And I'm not surprised it's doing this again, except the fact that it's week 2. We still got we still got 14 more games of this.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's a there's a potential for it to get like really ugly threes.
Oh, I
like
think so too.
Like Peyton Manning last year.
Yeah.
Ugly, like with Denver.
And here's the thing, New Orleans defense isn't Denver's defense. I thought New Orleans defense is vulnerable, and I think it's kind of overhyped.
No,
it's good against bad teams, but against good teams, it's okay, but it's not great.
Yep, agreed. I agree.
But yeah, I think it's not panic time in New Orleans, but it's troublesome. But Vegas, hey, tip of the cap. This team looks legit.
No, I mean, dude, they have. This is what I said to my buddy today when I was talking at work, and I think you'll agree with me. I think it's a pretty good assessment. They have a poor man. First of all, if you have an elite speed receiver and an elite tight end, tight end, one of them's open every fucking time. Period.
Darren Waller, I drafted him in fantasy. I was like, shit, all right.
Bro, Darren Waller and Henry Ruggs are Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill light, bro.
Yep.
And now, obviously, they don't have a Patrick Mahomes that throw 80 yards down the field, but you said Derek Carr is more than serviceable with good players around his coach.
One of the things my friends asked us in our group text was, is Derek Carr good? I can't tell. We've always kind of been pro Derek Carr. I kind of came off him last year, but like he's good enough. Like he's kind of like that Phillip Rivers. If you sleep on him, he's gonna sling it.
Agreed. And he has the thing with Derek Carr was always mental. It was never like, oh, he can't make this throw or he's not athletic enough to get out of the pocket. I mean, the intangible or the skill set is there. It's a lot of the intangibles. I mean, I just feel like he honestly, and I think he has a very similar career arc to fucking Carson Wentz right now. Dude, he had an MVP level year, got hurt in that year, and just hasn't been the same since.
Yep, I agree. But the rest on the Raiders, they run the ball well. Very well. Their offensive line, I know it was dinged up on Monday, but their offensive line, when healthy, that's a top 3 unit in the league. Yeah. Defensively, I still think they have a lot of holes. That D-line is really not... that's the other thing with New Orleans. Breeze had plenty of time. That D-line did not get to him at all.
Yeah.
And he still struggled to throw the ball.
Yep.
I think Vegas still has holes defensively. That was evident against Carolina, I thought, against a quarterback that I would argue is playing better right now in Teddy Bridgewater than Drew Brees. But right now, I like Vegas. They're not going to win that AFC West, but they will look like they're in the mix for a wild card. And remember, it's expanded.
Yeah. Agreed.
AFC. So the other game that was a nail biter was Seattle, New England. I didn't expect this to be that close. I still wasn't big on Cam Newton, but he showed me a lot in that game. I'll be honest.
No, I mean, dude was slinging it, just making plays that he had to make. That's Cam Newton's environment. Cam Newton likes to have everything on his shoulders. Sometimes he can't handle it, but sometimes he can. I love the game. I fucking hated that play call at the end of the game. I would have called a QB run, but I wouldn't have ran it off tackle.
Yes. Especially, like, that was the 3rd or 4th time you ran it at the goal line, and it worked twice.
Dude,
like, they were going to be keen on that.
Dude, send him over the top. If Cam Newton takes that snap and
he's 6'5". Like he can and has reach.
Dude, he's like fast for a big guy, but he's not NFL fast, dude.
Yeah.
So like he's not gonna get to the edge. But he knows you're running it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, but here they might run it to the running back, but like, bro. Every stadium, like, dude, I said it as soon as it happened. Am I coming out?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't catch what you said.
I hated the play call.
Yeah.
Off tackle is a terrible play call. Cam Newton is fast for a human, but he's not fast for an NFL player. And there was just, like I was saying, if all 11 players on defense know you're getting the ball, dude, you're going to get stopped in the backfield. It's just the fact. There was no deception there or anything like that. I didn't like the play call ultimately, but dude, the Patriots are going to win 10 games. I think we see that now.
I'm hard pressed to agree with you, but like I've said, there's still 14 games left. I'm not sure this formula with Cam running so much is gonna help them for a full season. But I think you're onto something there. Seattle, Russell Wilson looks really good through 2 games. I worry about their defense. Their defense has shown a lot of holes.
Seattle is going to have to. They're going to be a buyer at the trade deadline, and they're going to have to get a pass rusher.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in their secondary. They have dudes that can play: Quentin Dunbar, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. But that line is getting zero pass rush, and that was my biggest concern with them.
Well, they can have Fletcher Cox this offseason.
They have two decent interior players. They need an edge rusher.
Yeah, edge rusher. Well, I have one of
those.
those.
Who else? So what kind of podcast would we be without talking about Dallas Cowboys? So I don't know if you have the same take as me, James. I'm sure we probably do. I saw nothing from Dallas that made me think this team's good. Atlanta just blew the game.
No, well, it kind of sucks because I told you I work with a Dallas fan, and like all I gotta do is be like, you guys still aren't good, and then he's just sit there and talk about Wentz, even though I'm being completely objective. But I can sit here and tell you right now, that game proved to me that Dallas was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, they were exactly what I said they were going to be before the year goes. They're going to have a top 3 offense and a bottom 7 defense. They're that bad on defense.
That defense doesn't look good.
It's bad. And I mean, dude, there's going to be weeks when, it was the same thing that Atlanta does, dude. They're playing fucking 15 yards off the ball, just letting fucking Dak get the easiest completions in the world, dude. Like, I'm not going to take away from Dallas because that was one of the coolest fucking comebacks I've ever seen. If it was any other team besides Dallas, including the Giants or the Redskins, I would have been, like, standing the hell out of that game. But it's like, dude, that's what they are. That is recipe to get absolutely trounced first fucking week in the playoffs, and that's what's going to happen. Dallas. They have a terrible defense.
So Atlanta, that was the first team in NFL history to score 39 points and have over 400 yards of offense with no turnovers and lose the game. That was a historically poor performance. And did you see the onside kick?
What?
Did you see the onside kick? Atlanta didn't touch the ball.
They didn't know the fucking rules.
How do people not know that, James?
Bro, you do not have to wait 10 yards. Dude, there was people just standing around like trying
to box
people out. Like,
I'm amazed. I was watching, dude, I'm amazed with kickoffs in general because I've watched college games where players don't know that that's a live ball. I knew that shit when I was 7. That's a live ball.
Yeah, dude, I learned that in Pop Warner.
Yeah. And same with the onside kick. I'm like, no, you don't have to wait 10 yards. You can touch it whenever.
Yeah, dude.
These are fucking professionals, dude.
And dude, you're on onside kickoff return. Like some of those dudes, that's probably all they do is like kickoff return, onside kickoff return.
Yes.
Dude, you don't know one of the 3 fucking rules you have. Like,
yep.
I mean, that's just what makes me mad. Is like now, like there's gonna be people acting like Dallas is maybe good again.
No.
Fucking not. I mean, dude,
I saw. So Dallas showed resiliency. Okay. I'll give it to you.
Dude, you allowed 40 points to the Falcons.
But the rest, their defense was shaky. They turned the ball over 3 times. Like Dallas didn't do anything. They showed resiliency. Okay, I'll give you credit. But Atlanta mostly blew the game. They blew it.
I was going to say that was way more Atlanta blowing it than Dallas winning it.
I was at Buffalo Wild Wings and that game was on. It was a 9-point game.
Dude,
and I gave up on it. I'm like, okay, this is over.
Bro, I even thought, I was like, yeah, Dallas is going to score again, and then they're going to onside it and not get it. That's literally what I said, because I was just like, dude, they're going to play off ball. Dak's going to have a bunch of easy completions, but then they're going to recover the onside. And, jeez, man. Dude, honestly, that may be a billion times madder than the Eagles losing, because I just thought the game was over. I was like, all right, well, at least Dallas is good. They're
I texted you. I said, I can't enjoy Green Bay's win because Dallas wins.
Yeah, I was pissed, honestly. And then they asked, an AT&T Stadium, and he goes, no. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, bro. I don't like Mike McCarthy because he said that. Fuck him.
Look, I saw a graphic today, more talking about Green Bay, that said, Matt LaFleur is now 8-0 against NFC North opponents. And let me see what it said. What was McCarthy's record? He was 1-6-1 in his last 8 games against NFC North opponents.
Sheesh.
So, I love Mike McCarthy, but I don't see how he's gonna get it done there. I'm not impressed so far.
I mean, it's not even. I mean, dude, Mike McCarthy is what he is. I think he's, he reminds me of like a Ron Rivera, where he's the adult in the room. I think he's like a good CEO of a franchise, but he's just very uninspiring as far as X's and O's football goes. And that's
I could not agree with that more.
And I think that was their. I think Jason Garrett was good at being the CEO of a team. He just was very I think they hired like a sliver better Jason Garrett. I think McCarthy's better, but I think they're very similar. A lot of their problems and the things they're good at and the things they're bad at are very similar.
I agree. Like I've said, I should say, they'll be better situationally. In a game like that, Dallas doesn't come back to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I've said I think with McCarthy they will be better, but like they're not going to be a whole lot better. I mean, they'll win a couple of those games they used to lose, but overall not so much better. I think I lost you. Shit. All right. So I guess I'm just talking to myself here. Let me see. What else am I going to talk about? So a lot of injuries, I should say. Week 2. Hope everyone's fine. Damn it. Hang on. I'm going to try to call him back.
And to Waters for being so damn good.
Yeah, who knew?
I had no idea it did all that stuff.
McAfee playing. Let's try him again. This ain't good. Come on. I hate doing this myself. I really do. I hope he answers his phone. So anyway, like I was saying, a lot of injuries in week 2. It's something you hate to see. Yep. Great. Let me see if I can text him. I don't know. But so a lot of injuries in week 2. Obviously don't want to see that. So, especially to San Francisco, who lost their starting quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, starting running back, Raheem Mostert, starting defensive end, Nick Bosa. I don't know if Solomon Thomas started, but he definitely rotated in. And what was impressive to me was that San Francisco still beat the Jets by, 18 points? First of all, how bad are the Jets that they can't at least keep it competitive with the 49ers, who are banged up all over the place? But then some other key injuries were to Christian McCaffrey. The Broncos can't catch a break. Drew Lock got hurt. Courtland Sutton's done for the year. Let me try calling him again. AJ Bouye is hurt. I mean, I feel bad for all these teams, that got injuries over the weekend. Carolina without Christian McCaffrey, I'm not sure they're going to be able to do anything. Because I'm not a believer in Teddy Bridgewater. I guess he ain't going to answer the phone. Come on. Fuck. All right. I guess I'll keep talking. And if he wants to call me, he'll call me. What else can I talk about here? Thursday night football. Last week was Cincinnati and Cleveland. Biggest takeaway, even though Cleveland won, biggest takeaway was that Joe Burrow looks like the real deal, and he certainly does. He's throwing with confidence. He's making good throws. He's seeing the field well. And, he did it. He wasn't great against the Chargers, but he showed a lot of promise. I know Cleveland's defense isn't that great, and he moved the ball well, scored. Joe Burrow's legit. And another rookie quarterback that did well this weekend was Justin Herbert for the Chargers. First of all, I don't know what the heck's going on with the Chargers. Medical, that seems to be the worst medical group in the NFL. But we got the news today that Tyrod Taylor had a punctured lung. What the fuck are the Chargers doing? So anyway, they're trying to kill, I guess, Tyrod Taylor. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert goes out there, slings it, keeps the Chargers in the game, does well against the Chiefs, who struggled. And I thought that might be the case. I thought the Chiefs' offense might struggle against the Chargers' defense. Chargers have a great D-line, good secondary. I thought the Chiefs might struggle, and they did. But what the biggest takeaway of the game was Justin Herbert doing well. Herbert finished the game, I think, with like over 300 yards passing. Looked good. I'm hopeful the Chargers make the right decision and just start him the rest of the year. I don't know why you wouldn't. Like I've said it before, I'm not a big Tyrod Taylor guy. He's not much better or worse than Teddy Bridgewater. He might be worse, I guess, but they're about the same. They're not going to win you a lot of games by themselves. They need a lot of help around them. And Herbert that didn't seem to be the case with him. He looked really good. Just unfortunate, you can't contain the Chiefs' offense for 4 quarters, and they did that for about 2.5 to 3 quarters. They kept the Chiefs' offense in check, but you can't do it. Chiefs ended up coming back from a 17-0 deficit, 17-3 deficit, something like that. Just hard to do. What other games can I talk about? Baltimore, Houston. Baltimore's really good. Everything about that offense I like. They run the ball very effectively. They're great in the trenches. I still think defensively they have some holes. I don't think they rush the passer all too well. Secondary is great, though. Houston, I thought Houston was better. They're still bad. They're still working in new pieces. They're trying to figure things out offensively. I don't think Houston's in trouble. No, they are a little bit. I'll go ahead and say they're in trouble. I'll try calling them again. I doubt he'll be ready. Houston's in trouble. But I like Deshaun Watson. I don't think Bill O'Brien's a total idiot as a coach, definitely as a GM. I'm hopeful that they can turn it around. And that's the thing. I've looked it up. The Texans with Bill O'Brien are actually very good in the second half of the season. I've seen this happen before with the Texans. They got, I think it was 2 years ago, they started 0-3. Damn it, James. Started 0-3, finished the season 11-5. So they get off the slow starts all the time under Bill O'Brien and then get hot late and win the division. It's going to be hard this year, though. They don't have Deshaun Watson, or they don't have DeAndre Hopkins anymore. Their defense isn't all that good. Defense has aged quite a bit. And there's James texting me. Let me see if he's ready to go. Can you podcast? All right, we'll see what he says. Some of the other things that happened. Arizona beat Washington. Not all that surprising. Kyler Murray's really good. 3 rushing touchdowns through the first 2 weeks. Arizona looks legit. We'll know more. I mean, they beat San Francisco and Washington. Washington's got a good front 7. San Francisco, we know, is pretty good when healthy. Arizona's legit. That's one of those 2-0 teams that are unexpectedly 2-0 that I'm buying. Like, Arizona's legit. They're at least a playoff. They're a wild card team at the least. Maybe they might win that division. Bears, Giants. First 2-0 start. 2-0 start for the Bears for the 5th time since 1993. I'm not really buying the Bears. They played 2 bad teams, the Lions and the Giants, and didn't really look all that impressive in either. The Lions and Giants. I got that right. Didn't look all that impressive in either. Beat both of them by a combined 8 points. We're down to the Lions by 17 points, and then they still let the Giants hang around without Saquon Barkley. I'm just not a big believer in the Bears right now. I could be wrong. I think that defense is still good, but it's not as good as it was in 2018. And the Giants, I think the Giants are in trouble. I do kind of like them this week, though, against the Niners, just because the Niners are beat up everywhere. What else? The Vikings, so that's an 0-2 team. The Minnesota Vikings that I think, just go ahead and stick a fork in them. I think the Vikings are done. That defense looks very vulnerable. The pass rush isn't there. The secondary is breaking in some new faces. They've already lost someone for the year. I think it was Anthony Barr. Someone like that. Let me look it up. Anthony Barr. Yeah, Anthony Barr, done for the year. So I think Minnesota, stick a fork in Minnesota. I think they're done. The more I look at it, the more and more I think there's a very good chance Green Bay runs away with this division again. They won the division last year by 3 games. They won 13 games. Vikings won 10. And I look at the rest of this division. I think Minnesota at 0-2 is done. The Lions are 0-2. I think they're done. Matt Patricia's probably not going to keep his job much longer. The Bears will be competitive, probably. That's looking like the second place team right now, or the Bears. But I think, again, Green Bay, it looks like Green Bay's going to run with this division, which makes me very happy as a Packers fan. I guess James ain't going to come back on. I'll try calling him again. What else? Josh Allen. Oh, I thought he was going to answer. Josh Allen, still very, very good. We are, as we like to say all the time, we are a pro Josh Allen podcast. Looks very good so far. He's had 6 touchdowns in 2 games, 417 yards last week. I'm starting to worry about Buffalo's defense. No reason to give up 28 points to the Dolphins and Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he didn't answer, whatever. But for Buffalo, it was a road game. I'll let it slide. You know, it's hard to win on the road in the NFL. I don't care how bad the other team is. I'm willing to let that slide. We'll go back to the Eagles game. We've already talked about the Eagles, but the Rams, I just want to say, look like the front runner in the NFC West right now. I think Sean McVay has his groove back. It's amazing what happens when you get rid of dead weight like Todd Gurley, who so far has not done anything in Atlanta. And I know Atlanta, in general, doesn't really run the ball since Kyle Shanahan left. So you could use that as an excuse. I'm telling you, Gurley doesn't have it anymore. And the Rams get rid of Gurley, and they've scored, 20 points and 37 points. Honestly, the 20 points against the Cowboys should have been a lot more. They struggled in the red zone a little bit. Should have had at least 30 points, in my opinion. So we're looking at, should have been about 30 points, 37 points last week. The Rams are back. Like, the Rams offense is back. I still have questions about their defense, but they have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. With them two defensively, they're going to be able to win games and keep opponents from scoring too many points. So right now, I like the Rams in the NFC West. Arizona probably second. I forgot about Seattle. Seattle's got to fix its defense. Russell Wilson's cooking, but I think the Rams are the front runner. I'd probably put Seattle second, Arizona 3. San Francisco with those injuries is going to be tough. But at 4th, I think, is probably the case. I'll talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew looks like the real deal. And also, first 2-0 start for Tennessee since 2008. I believe they made the playoffs that year. I think I'm going to have to eat my words with the Tennessee Titans. They're good. I'm going to eat my words. They're good. Oh, James is coming back. Wait 1 minute. He's coming back. Tennessee's good. Ryan Tannehill is slinging it. Teams are selling out to stop Derrick Henry in the run game, and they're doing that. And Ryan Tannehill's answering the call. Playing well. He's throwing for about 300 yards a game. He moved the ball well against Denver. I know they had kicker problems, missed 3 field goals, so they should have had more than whatever it was, 16 points. They've played well the last 2 weeks. I like Mike Vrabel. Defensively, I think they got a good front. Their secondary is very underrated. My concern with Tennessee is when the weather starts getting colder and teams, again, sell out to stop Derrick Henry in the run game. Can Tannehill answer when the weather gets colder? That's when you should be relying on run games. And I'm just not sure the Titans can do that. I'm not sure. I'll have to see it. What else? So Pittsburgh and Denver, back-to-back weeks, Pittsburgh scores 26 points. I like Pittsburgh. They're still figuring things out, and they're still scoring 26 points. It's pretty good in the NFL, at least. That defense for Pittsburgh is legit. They're really good. I don't like that they only beat Denver by 5 points, especially Denver that's as banged up as it is without Drew Lock. But I will say this: Jeff Driscoll came in. Jeff Driscoll's a capable backup. They moved the ball well with him. And that's the thing I will say with Herbert, with guys like these backups that came in and did well this past week. And Herbert, Driscoll, so there was somebody else I thought. I might be mistaken. But I thought there were more. I don't think there were, though. Anyway. I would err on the side of caution with saying, oh, they got a backup. Oh, he's good. They'll be able to play well with him. After one game, I wouldn't be so sure. These NFL coaches game plan for one quarterback. And when that quarterback doesn't show up, like the Chiefs with Tyrod Taylor, the Chiefs defensive coordinator has already said, I was prepared for Tyrod Taylor. I wasn't expecting Justin Herbert. And Herbert played well. I would caution, all the Herbert. He looked good, but I would caution Herbert and Broncos fans that think they can move well with Jeff Driscoll. I don't think that's the case. Son of a bitch. I don't think that's necessarily the case, at least not right now. I gotta type this back in. All right, we're back. This whole podcast is a fucking mess today. I'm waiting for James to call me back. Back to what I was saying. These backup quarterbacks that did well, I'd caution you guys that think that they're good. These coordinators sell out to stop the starter, and when a backup comes in, they're not prepared for it, and sometimes that means they don't know what to expect. The opposing offense, I should say, is able to move the ball. So just let's take it with a grain of salt right now. But Broncos, I think, are in trouble. Go ahead. I'd label the Broncos as done. Unfortunate. I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year. But right now, I would air them as done. All right, here we go. But he's back. Thank fucking Christ. I hate doing this shit myself. You know that. I feel like I'm talking to a wall. I feel crazy. I went through all the matchups. I'm like, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this. And I'm like, fuck. I need someone to bounce ideas off of. But I did just about go through all of them. Some of my takeaways, let me find it. Joe Burrow's legit. I think we would both agree. Or he looks good.
He's about to beat the Eagles this Sunday.
I'm not going that far.
I am.
I'm not. The Titans are much better than I thought.
Yeah, Tannehill is. I keep waiting for him to just not be good, but he keeps just being good.
Well, so like I was saying, I'm waiting until the weather gets cold. When it's not September.
Good point.
If he's still slinging it, then by all means, he's legit. How bad are the Jets?
He's going to have to be able to do that in Cincy. That's for damn sure. But, I mean, that is where he played. You're right, though. He doesn't have that strong of an arm. I mean, it's not easy, but...
Then I also asked, how bad are the Jets? Lose badly to a banged-up San Francisco team without its starting quarterback, running back, edge rusher, I think another defensive tackle. Still can't score more than 13 points and keep it close.
The New York teams are the worst teams in the NFL right now.
I completely agree. And then I also mentioned how I'm not buying the Bears at 2-0. They have played two bad teams, and the Lions and the Giants barely won both games. Had to come back from 17 points down to beat the Lions. Let the Giants hang around without Saquon Barkley. I'm not a believer in the Bears or Trubisky right now. I think, and as I said, I think Green Bay's running away with the NFC North right now, as of right this second.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as Kirk Cousins is playing and shit, yeah, I mean, it's looking very runaway-ish. Because, I mean, obviously the Lions are – everybody was kind of on them as having a good offense, which I think is the case, but they're clearly not as even as good as I thought. They're actually still bad again. I thought they could have been like a 500 team. Minnesota, I didn't pick them to win a division, I don't think, but I was very close to doing it, and they look like they might be below 500, dude. I mean,
yeah, I said stick a fork in the Vikings. They're done.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot to talk about the Colts. That was the Colts team I expected week 1.
Yes,
they moved the ball better. DeForest Buckner's a beast. And I know Jacksonville likes to get off to fast starts, and they've heard all. And again, I kind of excuse the loss because Jacksonville heard all offseason how terrible they were. They were rebuilding. It was a simple, Doug Marrone going in the locker room. No one's giving you a chance. And these are professionals. Yep. They're good enough to do that. They're good enough to go out there and win every game. Yep. So, but that's the Colts team I expected, and I'm still right back on them. I think that they're fully capable of winning games and winning this division.
I think they can win games. I don't see them winning that division, man. It's just Phillip Rivers is.
Well, right now they're only a game out of it with Tennessee, and I think they can beat Tennessee twice.
I mean, I don't disagree. It's just Phil is just so uninspiring. He used to be
I agree. But between Philip Rivers and Ryan Tannehill, would you rather have Rivers?
No.
Yeah, as I was saying that, I was like, yeah, I think I'd rather have Tannehill right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's still better than Jacoby Brissett right now, so he still gives you a pretty good chance to win every week. But the problem with fucking Rivers, dude, is he gives you just as good of a chance to lose because he makes these bonehead plays. I mean, he makes, like, Jameis Winston-level interceptions sometimes. You know.
I also said Arizona is legit. That's a 2-0 team. If you had stock to buy, I'm buying Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
I'm buying Indianapolis. I'm buying. Let me find out. Let me see if I can find anyone else. I'll buy Tennessee, and then I'm selling Minnesota. I'm selling Chicago. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I wouldn't sell New Orleans. Oh, Vegas. I'm buying Vegas right now.
Me too.
Houston. I thought Houston was better. Did you think Houston was better against Baltimore? I will say, I said to the listeners here, don't completely ditch them. They are a very good team in the second half of the season under Bill O'Brien.
I think that I think Deshaun Watson is good enough to mask a lot of their deficiencies. I think they're a bad roster right now, dude.
Oh, I agree. And they're still mixing guys in offensively. They're still figuring things out. I'm not disagreeing, but I just remember, I think it was 2 years ago, they started 0-3, finished the year 11-5, and won the division.
Yeah. It was the year that Big Cat did his
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I know Houston looks bad. I wouldn't give up. They are a very good second half kind of team under Bill O'Brien. Second half of the season team under Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into Thursday Night Football preview. It is, who is it? Miami-Jacksonville. So not going to likely be a great game, but we're football fans. I'm going to watch it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Dude, start Tua. Like, what's going on?
When it was last weekend, I'm like, I'll probably take Miami to win that game. Preseason, I was like, I'm going to take Miami to win that game. The closer we get to kickoff, I'm flipping it to Jacksonville. I'm all in on Gardner Minshew. Jacksonville's playing better right now. They're the better team right now.
No, they are.
If the Dolphins start Tua, like fucking motorcycle, then I think they have a shot. I don't really know what to expect though with him, but they're not winning that game. I think with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, I agree. I don't know if I agree. Shit.
I will say this: those Thursday night games, I feel like come down to if you got the better quarterback head coach combination a lot of the time. I don't know if Miami has that, but they definitely have the coaching advantage, I think, with Brian Flores.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there, too. That's tough. That's one of those really good bad games.
I know.
Both teams are equally bad, so it's kind of like two good teams playing, if you really think about it.
I know. Yeah. Who would you take? Who are you taking?
I'll go Miami still.
You're going Miami. All right.
Even Byron Jones is out, too. I mean, that the strength of their team is their quarterbacks, and they're missing even one of them. I still got to, because I still do think that at the end of the day, and we talk about this all the time, how things sort of regress to the mean, and I do think the mean of Jacksonville is very fucking bad.
I agree.
I do think that they're sort of overachieving right now, but you never know, dude. If Gardner Minshew's just actually fucking legit, and he's playing with nothing and he's winning, then who knows? But
so let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's pretend that Jacksonville goes back, as to use a term that Adam Lefkoe says all the time that you just used, regresses to the mean, finishes the year with the number 1 overall pick, and they are so dead set on drafting Trevor Lawrence. I think they could, and let's pretend Gardner Minshew plays well, like they just lose every game in a shootout. I think they could get some serious draft capital for him.
You could get a second plus, because to be honest with you,
maybe not a first, but definitely a second.
I don't know if the team will start him, but you know what'll happen? A team with Super Bowl aspirations will sign him as their backup, a very, very good backup.
I mean, it's not going to kill your cap because he's only making about $500,000 because he was a 6th-round pick.
And it's like, you think about it, like next year, I'm trying to think of a team that's going to be really good, like competing next year. Like,
I'll say this: New Orleans. Drew Brees is struggling.
Yeah, or like even the Niners, if Jimmy G just
that's another one.
Again and comes back and isn't great, like
and that's the other thing. I think Shanahan and Garoppolo's relationship is kind of straining. I wouldn't say it's strained, but it's straining. I think he's seeing his limitations.
I think Kyle's like, dude, I'm handing it to you on a silver platter, and I'm still getting bad plays here. What's going on? Because that's kind of how Kyle does do it.
And I'll be honest, I'm not sure Shanahan really wanted Garoppolo that bad. I don't think he wanted to deal with a rookie quarterback. That was evident.
Bro, he wanted Brady.
Yeah.
If you remember, like that was a legitimate, like confirmed report, dude.
And I think he was willing to work with whatever veteran was. I remember Kirk Cousins was linked to San Francisco for a while during his whole franchise tag era with the Redskins.
I'm not a fucking Kirk Cousins guy at all, and I don't think anyone should be at this point. But he does fit what Shanahan likes to do.
And they've worked together before. Garoppolo and him haven't worked together. They're making it work, but I still don't think he's crazy about him. I think there's a very good chance San Francisco could trade for a Gardner Minshew or somebody like that. Or draft a guy, and just sit him up. But I really don't think he wants to deal with a rookie quarterback.
I mean, maybe he goes to fucking to like Tampa Bay after Tom retires or something. Who knows, man? Or maybe, dude,
he signed an extension. He's not going anywhere.
Oh shit! I don't know, man. I'm just trying to spitball here because like it's one of those things where it's like if he was drafted second round, dude, people would be like, oh, he's my starter. He's my starter. But it's like people always Big Cat does this as like a joke, like first round talent. You know what I mean? Like they're always just gonna look at him as somebody who wasn't very talented coming out. And I mean, dude, imagine if like he went to a team that actually had some weapons. Like he might be fucking great. I mean, who knows?
I'll say this: Jacksonville has better pass catchers than I think we give it credit for. Dede Westbrook, DJ Chark. They got better pass catchers than people give it credit for. But, yeah.
But they have a terrible offensive
line.
True,
100%. I agree. So that's really about it. I want to wrap things up, though, with the whole mask thing. Did you see the amount of coaches that got fined this week?
Yeah.
I want to say something right now. The masks were already stupid to begin with. But two, can we give it a rest a little bit with these coaches? Like, give the coaches some leeway here, especially the play callers.
To be honest with you, Shane, that doesn't even, like, I agree with you wholeheartedly with what you just said, though. Dude, none of them have COVID. They all get tested
thank
every
you.
day.
And that was my other point.
Every person inside of that stadium doesn't have COVID, factually. So it's like, why? Like, I'd have been like, this is the only place I shouldn't have to wear my mask, if we're being honest.
And I don't know how the testing works. If maybe you got tested Friday, you go out to dinner Sunday or Saturday, and maybe you're carrying it by Sunday. If that's the case, if that's how they do it, I get the masks. But still, can we have some leeway here, especially with the play callers? To quote Deadpool, is the mask muffling my voice? That is a thing. The mask muffles the play calling.
You know what's funny, dude? They don't give a shit. John Gruden's going to do the same thing.
John Gruden's making $10 million a year right now. He doesn't care. That's pocket change to him. Honest to goodness, the owner's probably paying it.
I was just about to say that, dude. The owners pay that shit. I'm telling you right now. And I'm sure the owner's probably going to go, dude, like, try to wear your fucking mask. So
they'll tell them to wear it just so that they don't have to do. And I think that's the case with a lot of people. They wear it just so, like, the school, whether it's college, NFL, the teams are just like, look, we don't want a fucking PR disaster here. Just wear the fucking mask.
That's why I wear the mask. I just don't feel like hearing people's fucking mouth.
I'm only wearing it because I think it's still a mandate. And I've given up on the mask. I'm wearing gaiters now. The masks are stupid. The gaiters are so much more comfortable.
Nah, gators aren't sick.
But that was my whole. It's driving me nuts. The whole time I'm watching Gruden, I'm like, I get it, man. You got to call plays. The mask is muffling the voice, and as Pat McAfee talked about, you're talking into a headset that you can't really hear that great in general. Yep. That's going to a helmet that you can't hear that great. Even like you can't hear much better in. It's actually worse. So I have no real issue with it, but I get it. It's the rule. You got to follow it, but it's stupid. It's stupid. There you go with the fucking mask.
Got to go into the gym here, so yeah.
All right, so I'm glad we got to do this, even though there were some technical difficulties. But
the next one will be better. Our preview pod. Do you want to just do that tomorrow?
Yes, I was going to ask you if you wanted to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think we have much of a choice because it ain't gonna be Friday. So yeah, that's fine with me.
All right, let's do it then.
All right, bro. Later.
Later.